So, coming from an operatic background, I always want to hear my singers give all of themselves, not necessarily loud, sometimes really quietly, but I want it to be a genuine, real sound that involves all of their personality. And someone asked me a question during a rehearsal a few weeks ago, which was really, really important because she said, "You're asking us to give all of ourselves, but many of us have been trained over years to try and blend." The trouble is, when people try and blend, they almost inevitably diminish themselves and become smaller vocally and as personalities in order to try and fit in with everybody else. And for me, that's not really what singing is about. So we talked about how we can change that. And you can give the whole of your personality to your voice without spoiling the blend, in fact enhancing the blend, by making sure that the choir are all singing a similar vowel shape. Many people within a choir, I tried this with one of my choirs last night. You will ask them to sing an R vowel and you will get a huge disparity of shapes. So you get some people doing R, some people trying to do R, some people doing R, some people R, and it's really, really hard for them to know what they're doing, because we're often very unaware of what we do ourselves. And I think working in front of a mirror can work really well. One of the things I try and do with choirs often is to put them in pairs and get them to be honest with each other about what the other person is doing. The trouble with that is, certainly in choirs in Britain, is that people are so polite. And so they'll see someone going, "Arr," and they say, "Yes, that's absolutely right," or "Yes, your face looks completely relaxed." And we do each other this massive disservice by not really being honest about what we're doing. So I tried something else last night. I tried to get people to open their mouths and then use their finger to trace around their mouth shape and see what they came up with, whether they thought their mouth was open. And I really did have people tracing their finger around this shape and thinking that they were doing a really open, relaxed R. Now, all these little tensions that we produce, whether it be to keep our mouths slightly shut or to keep ourselves in a slightly tense position, they're all there to protect us. Our subconscious mind doesn't want to let our voice out, really, probably in essence, because we're a little bit afraid that someone will hear us and not like what they hear. And if they don't like our sound, they don't like us. And it's a deeply personal thing, and we all worry about it. But if we can step past that, we step into a world where we don't judge ourselves, we don't judge anyone else, we just open it out and see what's there. Now, one of the problems that I have with many choir leaders and many singing teachers for that matter is that as we go up the scale, we can start off with a nice R, and as we go up the scale, because there are changes of positions of the sensation of resonance in our heads that we don't always help and we don't always give the best conditions to, sometimes we sing a little bit flat. And many choir leaders will then say, "Okay, so lift up a bit and try and make that sound a bit brighter." And that's really death to the voice. I've worked on a professional level and on an amateur level with sopranos over the last couple of weeks who really, their voices are absolutely super, but because they've spent so much time trying to brighten parts of their voice, they actually now find that the bottom of the voice especially is really difficult to keep in tune, and it's often difficult for them as they get older to make a really sustainable, decent sound. And I find that that's really upsetting, because I want to see everybody singing with their very best sound all the time. So I would recommend to you that you go sort of cold turkey on this and don't allow yourself to go bright. Just allow the warmth and roundness. And as you go up through the scale, the vowel should darken. The vowel should become darker. And that's where so many people go wrong. As a quick fix, especially around the upper break of the voice, we tend to go, right, let's brighten that sound. And it doesn't really work. And it tightens up the muscles of the larynx and makes things less flexible. And as you get older, all of these muscles, or all of the cartilage, in your throat actually becomes hardened anyway. So we don't want to make anything stiffer. So one of the things I've been working on in the Alchemy group these last couple of weeks is just trying to help people to understand where their voice makes a shift in the place where they feel the resonance, where they feel the sensation of resonance, and how we go about helping that. And understanding that to make a blended sound, we keep the fullness of our tone, but we keep it round and uniform vowels, so that if the whole choir is singing the same vowel sound and the same vowel shape, then we're going to get a really decent blend. And I did this with one of my amateur choirs last night, and we had about 60 or 70 singers there, and most of them wouldn't consider themselves to be really decent singers, but actually when you got them making the same vowel shape and allowing their voice to do what it wanted to do in the right places, then suddenly we have a sound which is sensational. Have a think about that. Try practicing it in front of a mirror. Try practicing what you think you're doing and looking in the mirror at the same time and seeing whether what you feel that you're normally doing is actually what you're doing in reality. Have fun with it. That's the most important thing. Have fun with it.